Hi everyone, welcome to episode number 6 of our series, The Road to Cybersecurity. My name is Pedro Drimel, and on this channel, I help you become a cybersecurity rockstar. And on today's topic, we'll be talking about project ideas that you can use to level up your skills in cybersecurity. So, first of all, before we kind of get into the topic, I just want to let you know that cybersecurity, or security back in the days, it has always been about a community based, right? So, as I mentioned in other videos, like people use it to write designs or articles over the internet, just for the sake of sharing knowledge, or trying to put yourself to test and see what others would talk about your article or not, how you would improve some techniques and everything and anything like that, pretty much. It's still happening nowadays to less extent. Well, now I'm here on YouTube talking to you, of course, but there's still some community-based designs, and they have like maybe the richest type of details online and information on advanced topics in cybersecurity. That's not about the projects that we'll be talking about, but I wanted to show like some examples that this has always been the case in cybersecurity. So for example, let me quickly show some Zion's example here. This is a FRAC. So this edition like just came out. It's maybe the most famous type of Zion from for in security and offensive security, so to speak. And like there are a bunch of interesting articles, like for example, long live format strings. If we just take a look at the introduction here, like format strings attacks should be dead. It's enabled by default. These protections and vulnerabilities are trivial to detect with static source code analysis. So it's kind of, and here goes, and yet, despite the existence of foolproof protections, we still see multi-billion-dollar companies ship code with obvious format string vulnerabilities. So you see, it's a more kind of relaxed type of writing that those security researchers write about, and you can always learn something new. I mean, of course, from these articles, you'll likely find many examples that you can really learn deep and advanced cybersecurity skills. Another example that I didn't know about its existence. I'm not sure if it's still happening nowadays, but this is the other design called tmp.out. So this is kind of this article is from 2020, if I'm not mistaken, but this is kind of a walkthrough from true radar to a vulnerabilities found on 2020. So here's just showing an example of the fuzzer they wrote. So you might not know what a fuzzer is, but this is a very simple piece of Python code that for those starting in cybersecurity and having a grasp with Python might understand what it's doing here. But it's basically running radar with multiple random files, and then they check when they crashed and they made the analysis, and then ended up writing the exploit for that. So it's kind of course, it's not what we'll be really discussing here, as on today's topic. It's about projects for beginners in cybersecurity. But I wanted to let you know that there are lots of advanced knowledge out there. As I show, FRAC is the 70. I think is the edition 71 or something like that. So there's lots and lots of rich information down there. And maybe if you pick one article, it's gonna be a full week, a full month, just for learning a given topic. And of course, through security conferences, right? Most of those security researchers, they don't get any money really for presenting at a security conference. Nowadays, there are lots of security conferences. But still, there are some with really high quality and not just marketing stuff. So while cybersecurity is an industry that usually pays well, back in the day, those people were just sharing knowledge by sharing and not really for money. Even like I mentioned, like talking at cybersecurity conferences, you usually don't get paid. Sometimes you get paid like maybe the travel, maybe the hotel, maybe both, maybe just the ticket. But people just do it for really passion and trying to show to others what they did and to kind of get some feedback as well, right? To improve their skills and all that. So, given this context, what is this? What is about this project ideas? So I'll call this like a mini project idea, where you can do by yourself, and you don't need to rely on anyone else to kind of do that. You don't even need much mentorship than just trying by yourself. But what it's not, it's not a full project based. For example, there's an interesting project from Google. It is called GSOC, so Google Summer of Code. This is not happening anymore. Like this from at least from 2024, it's already closed. But there are a bunch of cybersecurity projects that participate on this. I know that the HoneyNet project has been on part of the GSOC for a long time. So like, if you want to go one step further and participate in some of those projects, maybe not as part of the GSOC, but just as a open source contributor. So for example, there are a bunch of interesting projects here. I'm not sure if all of them were implemented or not, but for example, DRACVoof is like a sandbox from the CertPL team. Intel is a new analyzer, so it kind of collects multiple data sources. So like you throw in like an IP address, we'll collect from multiple data sources what that IP address could be and things like that. So not just an IP address like a hash or other stuff. There are some for like LLL based. So like again, and MITM proxy. You see like another one from DRACVoof as well. So like if you have a programming experience, or you're looking to advance your skills within developing open source code, this is a great opportunity to kind of mix between open source development and cybersecurity. So some other ideas, like I didn't know about this project like Stratosphere. It's an IDS IPS Linux based one. So they were also participating on the Google Summer of Code. It's something interesting to take a look. If, like I mentioned, if you want to kind of level up your skills within programming. WASP, as of course, they also participated a lot on the Google Summer of Code. I didn't know about this. There's this VM, which is a vulnerable VM. They even have like a CTF a style where it even give you some hints to go to the next level. So like besides participating and helping them improve this vulnerable VM, you could also play with that, right? So this looks very, very interesting for those looking to enhance the skills within web application penetration testing, for example. And why would you do those projects, right? I'll give you 3 reasons to work on that. Well, the first one is to stand out from the crowd, right? Imagine that you are the hiring manager for a given cybersecurity position, whatever it is, and you have someone who kind of went to maybe a college degree, maybe took some certification, which is something I'm not very fan of, but we'll get that eventually. What if you have 100 candidates with kind of the same resume, and another one kind of mentioned on his blog post, on her blog post, where how they went through some problems and how they managed to solve them, or you would stand out just on your resume by having such project, would kind of call the attention for the hiring manager. Eventually, when I did some interviews, I always try to kind of go through the candidates' website, for instance, and see what are they talking about, like what are their ideas, what are they're working on, and such. So for instance, like this blog post here, well, actually this position here, from CrowdStrike, as mentioned, intrusion analyst remote, and then mentioned here specifically is like published research of our findings at conference, which I kind of mentioned already, something that's very valuable, or through all the non-academic channels like blogs or articles. So having something like that is always helpful. Will always add to your resume just by itself. I kind of did that, in the past too. So here like is a very, very old blog post on, analyzing some Brazilian malware. So it kind of helped me a little bit. So, it's always good to have some sort of a portfolio of your own, despite the project that you are working on. The other reason is you got to be able to speak truly a given topic during an interview, right? It's not about, yeah, I know about X, but if you can't elaborate how you actually learned it, what you actually tried, what it worked, what did not work, do not expect during an interview to be, the one that will be just answering questions like, what is this, what is that? That's not about that, but it's mostly about how you can articulate what you learned, how you learn it, and what's the pros and cons between different topics and all that. And and the third reason is that the only way to truly learn something is to do it, right, and not just read about them. So, for example, even those articles I mentioned, if you don't really try to replicate that on your own, you're not really learning. You're just reading something. So it's a win-win situation. You learn something. You are able to, speak truly a given topic that you studied and practice, and also you can stand out from the crowd. So it's, it's something that if you're starting out in the field, especially if you don't have many years of experience in the field, one great way to stand out from the crowd is working on those mini projects. All right, so as I mentioned, like I'm here to help you become a cybersecurity rock star and not just, like a next finish type of project. So what would be, some ideas for you? Those three ideas are not separate. They're like one like a beginner, advanced, or actually beginner and like intermediate type of project. So like we're gonna look at the first one, which is pretty much setting up your environment for doing your research. So for example, one way to kind of get started is just installing like pfSense. pfSense is it's a firewall based on FreeBSD. So maybe if you want to run on the command line, we'll have like this pfCTL interface. But it's great. Like you can install that as a VM. I'm gonna show a little bit the kind of the network architecture for this project. But basically, the idea here is that you install the pfSense in a virtual machine. So like pick up a virtual machine that works better for you. It could be like QEMU, could be Proxmox if you're Linux, for instance, or it could be VMware, VirtualBox. It's always changing, right? Sometimes the best VM software nowadays is not the best in a few years time. So like if you're just starting out, just pick one. I'll go VirtualBox, for example. It's easy to use, and that will be a good way to start. So the idea is having this kind of network infrastructure where here we have your, let's say your laptop here. So this is the host, right? So where we'll be hosting your VMs. And then you have like 3 guest machines here. Like the first one is the pfSense that we just mentioned, and 2 others that we'll have to install. So get a Linux machine. If you've never really installed a Linux VM, so this is your chance. Just grab an Ubuntu, or if you want to go Kali Linux or Backtrack, whatever, and just go with that. But any Linux machine, any Linux VM is fine. Another one is the Windows one. So like, how would you install a Windows one without the license? That's part of the project, How would you install your Linux VM? That's also part of the project. And you can even, go and write about them, like what was, your struggle. Maybe you look at some tutorial that's not working anymore or something like that. And an interesting part here are the networks that I would like you to kind of create for this project. So the idea here is that you set your pfSense in a way that the outbound connections will only go through like a VPN or maybe a Tor-based node. So like the idea is that you set this Windows VM to whenever it goes, it has any outbound connection, it goes through this VPN that you set up. So it could be any paid or free VPN, doesn't matter much, as soon as the IP address that this machine will access on the internet is not using your personal IP address. So this is a simple but very efficient a way to get started, and like doing this, you will learn some interesting skills. Like here we're talking about Linux, we're talking about virtual machines as well, and also networking. If you want to spice things a little bit up, and instead of using pfSense, you want to go more command line, maybe set up use IP table, so you'll get even more comfortable with IP tables. Then we can add, maybe you're here learning more about firewalls technologies as well. You could also try to harden your host, so your host is not accessible from anywhere on your local network. That will be another aspect to that. So this is kind of the first step on these project ideas. You have a bunch of networks on your virtual machines. Some of them will be accessing only through VPN, so won't be using your IP address. The others are allowed to go to the internet with your IP address. You'll see later, because on the Windows VM will be sending malicious traffic on that. So it's kind of a step one. Get that. Maybe you're already familiar with this, but this usually, when you kind of get your working laptop or your working machine, you'll usually have some setup of virtual machines. Maybe you're gonna say, yeah, I want to go to the cloud. Yeah, feel free, go to the cloud if you don't want to really develop these virtual machine type of skills. Maybe I would recommend going to Azure, since you'll be needing a Windows VM, but I'm not sure about outbound traffic, if there'll be any problem like running malicious traffic. Do that. It's just easier to take a snapshot before you also, before I forget to mention this, take a snapshot as soon as your VMs are working well. Make sure you take a first snapshot, so if something goes bad, you can just recover. If you haven't taken any VMware snapshot yet, maybe also, again, another opportunity to learn something. All right, so the first step is setting up the environment in a nice way to go to the second step, and the second step is about monitoring. And here we using an open source SIEM platform, this is a skill set. If you look at the previous video on the cybersecurity careers, you see that knowing how a SIEM works is kind of one of the requirement for lots of job posts, especially on the secure operations center side of the house. I do believe that even though it's down there, you don't necessarily need to know a specific SIEM platform, right? What really matters is that you understand, identifying potential attacks onto the network or onto a given host, and do the investigation to really know what that attack is about. Try to know what is different from a regular false positive for something that's truly malicious that needs attention. But it's still, since there are open source platforms, why not, right? Develop and test it on your environment. So like if we look at the SIEM Magic Quadrant from Gartner, I know this is not really necessarily, but here are some vendor names, right? I know a lot about Splunk and Microsoft Sentinel being really well known. I know they're very well known. Exabeam as well. And Elasticsearch, it's another open source one that you can install. And if we look at the alert types, right? And we're going to be focusing on just one alert types for this project, which is pretty much malware virus detection and also intrusion detection. So it's like any alerts for potential intrusion or alerts for malware or virus detection. So that's what we'll be looking into the project. So we won't be looking at like multiple fail login attempts or things that are less, let's say, less advanced to a given extent, and also harder to mimic. So we'll be working on the third step of this mini project, looking at malware behavior. But before that, this is the tool that I would recommend you to installing on your Linux VM, which is called Wazoo, right? It's based. It was like a fork from OSSEC, which was a host-based intrusion detection system, which was very well written by the time I looked into it, which was a long time ago, but still. This is the OSSEC is a great one. So this is a fork and a very complete. So you can have an agent installed on the Windows VM, and then you have the server installed on the Linux VM, right? So pretty much this is part of the this one here. So for example, here we're gonna have the Wazoo installed. So the server you can install on this VM here, and here the agent you can install on the Windows VM. So that's the idea for the step number 2. And by doing so, you kind of get a more comfortable using a SIEM platform. So imagine that you're getting started, and you eventually go to a job interview, and you kind of can elaborate on malware attacks and all that. And maybe the interview asks, yeah, but have you really used any SIEM platform? And you can say, yeah, well, I installed and used it, Wazoo, and here are the things that I learned. This is what I think it's good. This is what I think it's not good. You don't need necessarily to be comfortable with any commercial software, right? To really start your career. It's not about knowing specifics about a tool, but what is actually the tool doing behind the scenes that really matters in cybersecurity. And so that kind of completes the number 2 part of step 2 from this project. So again, before I forget, don't forget to take a snapshot from your VM. And now we're going to be talking about a little bit of malware analysis. So you got a SIEM, right? You have like an agent also installed on the Windows VM, and we want to practice a little bit on the alerts and the SIEM, on the SIEM versus what actually happened on the host machine. So we'll be pretty much using a one website here, Malware Traffic Analysis. This is just amazing set of infections that really happen on in a lab environment. But it's you got the network capture traffic, you got the malware itself, you also got sometimes the emails that are used, and also additional indicators of compromise that you can take a look at that. So like this is one great example, and as I mentioned, this is not supposed to be a step 1, step 2 type of project, but something for you to figure out yourself. And here's a great example that can be used. This is a form book or Xloader infection. So something that you kind of start thinking about, like, what's the difference between Xloader and form book? Are they really the same? What they do is this like a ransomware? Is this information stealer? What's the difference between them? Why would they use like a form book? What is the goal of the attack? So I'll leave you those questions that you can maybe think about and articulate for yourself, then you can also articulate that in a potential interview. And then here goes for the, like the email. This is the header. This is the malware. The files mentioned on the infection. Here we have like this RAR file, and this is actually the binary file, and they they identify that this is the Xloader or form book. And here's the traffic, right? So as soon as you kind of download this file and execute it on the Windows machine, you should see this traffic, and maybe the SIEM would alert you into something. Here I'm not even talking about doing the traffic analysis. You could go even one step further and download the PCAP and try yourself with like a tool like Wireshark, for instance, or the CP dump or anything like that you can analyze the traffic. You could go also and tell me, why are there so many connections going on here? What is the real C2? What is the real command control server that you can articulate on that? Why would Formbook just make all those requests? Is it just one C2 that exists, or are there more C2s than one? Another answer that you could elaborate is there any sort of configuration file from this malware? Did you manage to extract it? Maybe not manually, but running this on a sandbox. What is a sandbox? Those are the things that I believe you could use to step up on your skills and learn. So it goes a little bit some other examples. So here's the traffic. Here also, how can you do this on the Wireshark, and follow this. So this is a one great example that you can use to improve your skills doing the traffic analysis on this environment. And some other examples here. For example, a good loader is another activity that you can take a look and see. It's still a thread that is still happening nowadays. A good loader is a bad one. You could take a look at others and sometimes follow up with reading an article and see, like, for example, this one is a chain of infections. I go from Google Ad to ending with this malware with Danabot. So like, and here there are even like a blog post, right? So there's this like a blog post from Unit 42 talking about them. So like, can you follow this? Can you really try to replicate this so you have something to kind of help you out what is happening here? So this is a great way. Another thing that they do have on this website, amazing, as I mentioned, like some traffic analysis exercise. So you can even do the exercise yourself. But the thing is, since we're talking about the SIEM, the idea here is try to understand as much about the traffic as you can and compare what are the alerts that you got from the SIEM. Are they enough or not? Could you maybe write an additional rule that could detect this traffic? So it's not just about running things and checking the results, but what is it missing? Is it missing something? Is it really detecting the traffic from this Xloader or not? Which part is it really detecting? So you can go and compare the results that that's happening, but just by looking at some of those examples from the website and checking the SIEM. Which part of the infection is it actually detecting? Is it just the one of the C2s, or is it detecting that traffic as a whole? And that's just one example you can use for multiple threads. So not just that form book, there are multiple examples just on that side. And like if we look at the at our diagram here, you start learning also about malware analysis here. So for example, one thing that I mentioned is on that form book, you'll see that there are a bunch of connections to the C2, and how can you really know what is the real CT or not. You know, something that maybe through the malware analysis you can figure out. Maybe you need more reverse engineer, but still, you look at the file and went through all the steps that you could, but maybe you would need additional skills to really fully understand what is happening down there. Well, that's what I had as for this mini project for cybersecurity beginners. I hope you enjoyed, and please leave your comment down below. I'll be more than happy to discuss with you about this topic or any other further questions you have. And leave your like on the video, and don't forget to subscribe. See you later.